Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adobe Nolly, coming to you live from the city of Abuja, Nigeria. If you're seeing this face for the first time, you're welcome to the big growing family. Please kindly like and subscribe. Yes, and also comment below. Share your thoughts on this particular topic that I'm about to share. Yes, if you're an old subscriber, thank you once again for coming back to this channel. Hope we are all doing well. Hope we're all trying to be safe. Hope we are staying indoors, which is the most important thing. Yes, so today, as we all know, the Chief of Staff to Nigeria, Abba Kyari, is dead. He died at the age of 67 from the virus. Yes, he died from the virus on the 17th of April 2020. Yeah. So on social media, in and out of social media, I've been seeing so much joy, happiness on the lips and faces of so many people who are happy about his death. I don't think anybody deserves to be treated that way, no matter who the person is. Like, I'm not just talking about Abba Kyari, I'm talking general, basically general. I don't think anybody deserves such treatment, no matter how the person is in terms of behavior, character, and all of that. I don't think anybody should be happy over the death of another person. And to talk about Abba Kyari's case now, not like he even died with the virus, like not like he died and then the virus left Nigeria or left the world. Yes, he died of the virus, but this virus is still with us, and this virus can actually be me, can actually be you tomorrow. If you like, say God forbid, if you like, say this, that. But that's just the truth. So the best way to avoid this virus is just stay indoors and we'll all be good at the end of the day. So as we all know, Abba Kyari came back from Germany. I think that was in March. He came back from Germany after attending meeting based on the power supply in Nigeria and all of that. And then when he came back, first and foremost, he contravened the rules and regulations of NCDC, which states that if you're coming back from countries which is highly hit by this virus, you should self-isolate yourself for a period of 14 days. Well, in the case of Abba Kyari, who is the chief of staff, like expecting him to be the chief of staff and expecting that he will act accordingly, he did not. We saw him attending series of meetings, events, and all of that, and then he now tested positive to this virus on the 24th of March 2020. When he tested positive to this virus, nobody knew his whereabouts. Many people speculated that he was in Abuja and the ventilator in the Gwagwalada hospital was taken to him in Aso Rock. So many people were saying, no, he's in Lagos. So many people said, no, he's in Dubai. You know, there were so many speculations on his whereabouts. And to even think about it, I don't really think he owes us where he is. Yes, he's the chief of staff, good and fine. But I think for security reasons, again, I don't think if he's the president, yes, good and fine. But this is the chief of staff we're talking about. I don't think we really deserve to know where he is. So the presidency also reported on the 17th of April that he's dead, that he died of the virus. And we now got to know, okay, that this man was in Lagos State as at when he died of this virus. And then everything turns around, like he contravened the rules and regulation, number one. He now went, or let me not say him, the federal government, because I think right now it's the federal government that is in charge, now went ahead to contravene their own rules and regulations, the rules and regulations that were set by themselves. First and foremost, NCDC claims that, or stated that, or should I say Lai Mohammed, who is the information minister, says that once a patient dies of this virus, the body belongs to that of NCDC. And now we see it's completely different. The whole rules just completely turned, did a complete reverse when it came to Abba Kyari. He died in Lagos and he was transported, or he was sent back to Abuja. His body was brought back to Abuja. This is someone that died in Lagos, whom we are assuming that NCDC should just take up his body, right? No, but rather his body was sent back to Abuja. And if you watch clearly, the people that were actually bringing his body back, they were not clothed well. But I'll talk about the addressing later on in this video. So his body was brought back to Abuja, risking so many things, like putting so many people's lives in danger. That was not enough for them. They now came to his residence here in Maitama and conducted funeral rites. If you see that video, I'm going to put the video here.
last one was from Madam.
The people were able to identify, and live pictures were bringing you live from Abuja are the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, and also senior special to the President of Media and Publicity, Malam Abba Kyari. We're all seeing that everyone appears to be in a very sad mood because this really cast a dark shadow on the presidency.
That video, or this video, you can see shows more than 20 people. And see, this another rule again that was contravened. Third rule, the third rule that was, the first rule that he contravened was he did not self-isolate. Secondly, his body was not taken up by the NCDC. Then the third rule that they now contravened again is that NCDC said you shouldn't have a gathering of more than 20 people. And from that funeral rites, we saw that there were more than 50 people there. Like, what example are you leaving for people? You set a rule, you actually flaunt the rule, and then you expect the people that you're leading to actually respect you or abide by the rules or take you serious by what you are saying. The fourth rule they now contravened again is that there was no form of social distancing. NCDC said there should be a social distancing of at least 2 meters. There was none of such. Not even a 0.5 meters gap. There was nothing. There was no form of social distancing in this funeral rite. Not at all. You took this body from Lagos to Abuja. From Abuja, you took it to Maitama. And now from Maitama again, you now take it. Like you can see that it's not like these distances are short distances. We are talking about miles. Like it's not a short distance that is okay. You can just isolate a particular area. No, you cannot. From Maitama, you now go ahead and contravene another law. The fifth law now that the contravene is that the body should not be buried. Anybody that dies of this virus should not be buried, so that it doesn't infect the whole soil and all of that. They have their reasons for saying all of this, and then you go ahead to bury this man at the Gudu cemetery. Like, from Maitama to Gudu is a distance. It's not a short distance. It's a whole lot of distance. And this thing happened on a Saturday where that was the market day in Abuja, because Abuja have 2 market days currently, Wednesdays and Saturday. And for it to happen on a Saturday, it's best bet that people will actually be outside, that people will be around. So this thing happened on a Saturday, on a market day. You go ahead and bury this man as against the NCDC rules. So you can now see that 5 rules, in short, basically all the rules and regulations that were set by NCDC were actually flaunted. Like, they did not keep to anyone. You set the rules, you break the rules, you do not apologize for breaking the rules, you just go ahead. And that, let me just say, this video, I'm recording this video 24 hours. I quietly waited for 24 hours to see if the federal government, if the presidency, if NCDC would say anything in regards to all of this. But no, NCDC had said nothing about it. Federal government has said nothing about it. The presidency has said absolutely nothing about it. This is 24 hours later. Nothing has been said about it. 5 rules and regulations have been broken by the same people who set these rules. So now let me go into the people that were present during this funeral rite. I'll start with those that conveyed his body from Lagos down here to Abuja. First and foremost, they were not properly kitted. Yes, some of you say yes, they wore their PPE wears, and if you check in details, they were not properly kitted. One of them, his hand gloves tore. Did you see the shoes they put on? Nothing to write home about. Like, see, it's a problem. And then you now come over to those that attended the funeral right here in Abuja. Most of them, yes, had their nose mask, but most of them did not have hand gloves. There was no social distancing. This virus is not just about covering your nose and your mouth and then that just does it. That means you're safe from this virus. There was no form. There was no such. Like, social distancing was 0. Hand gloves, maybe I can just give it, let's say, a 50%. And that was just it. And then you now go to the burial ground, which is in Gudu. That's Gudu Cemetery ground. And we can now see what do you call them? Do you call them security? I think there's a name for it, but I'll just use security guards, those that watch over the cemetery. You can see some of them were not even kitted at all. They just wore their uniform and that was just it. Some were even barefooted. And then we now see a video again of one of the guys who was in charge of bringing the body, who just removed his PPE, tied it in the waterproof, and threw it away, threw it in the open. And if you watch this video clearly, you can see that when he was even trying to remove his PPE, he was actually touching the wall. Can you imagine if someone else touches that wall? As in, are you trying to imagine what would be the fate of so many other people who will touch that wall within a short period of time? I know, I think from what I read, they said the virus lasts for a very short period of time. But imagine if someone touches that wall within that short period of time, because you can't tell. And then he goes, not like he even washed his hands after the whole carrying of the body, burying the body and all that. There was no such. He didn't wash his hand. He did not use hand sanitizers. There was nothing of such. All he did was remove his wear, tied it in the waterproof, and threw it away and went into his car. Imagine what would happen. Like, I'm so scared of Abuja right now. I was expecting NCDC. Okay, oh, this person in quotes is the chief of staff. Okay, some rules will be flaunted. I was expecting them to be proactive in the sense that come there. Like, before you leave there, you get fumigated. Those that were in charge of carrying his body, you get fumigated. Then they take you up and self-isolate you themselves personally, not telling them to go home and self-isolate. Take you themselves, like take the people that were actually carrying his body, take them and self-isolate them for a particular period of time. That is what I was expecting NCDC to do. But no, I don't think there was any form of NCDC in the videos I watched. They were not present. Even maybe they were present, but they were not active at all. I did not see any of such thing. And then I now ask myself, what is the fate of the people in Abuja at the moment? Because you cannot tell everybody in that video to actually self-isolate themselves. Even the person that is being buried did not self-isolate himself. Then what is now the guarantee that those that attended this burial will actually self-isolate themselves? Like, we take one step forward in order to help curtail this virus, and then before you know what's happening, the government it's not even we the citizens, it's the government themselves that take like 50 steps backward to bring out this virus again. It's really alarming. It's really sad, because right now Abuja is no longer safe. We've been having few cases of this virus here in Abuja, but I am scared that in the coming days, in the coming weeks, though, the numbers will actually skyrocket. Some other person is saying, okay, no, that NCDC was quiet about this because Abba Kyari's body was not there. It was just a plantain. What do you call that thing? So, is it plantain? Forgotten, but that plantain stuff is not just coming to my head. That was what was in that bag that was buried. I don't know, I was not there, but whatever it is, the impression the impression they gave to us is that his body was buried, and that is what we'll be using to judge the whole case. I don't know. I'm not going to go with that assumption that his body was not there. So you see that the government is just putting every human being at risk of getting this virus. Like, it's really sad. And the worst thing is that it's we the masses that will get to suffer this at the end of the day, because from the information I got or I read, I don't know how true it is, that the Aso Rock itself has actually stopped people from entering Aso Rock. As of yesterday, some of those that attended the funeral were not allowed access into Aso Rock. You can imagine. Those that attended were not allowed into her. So then imagine all that. They've taken their own precautionary methods or precautionary way. Now imagine all others who will now go and meet their families, meet their friends. I can't even calculate the numbers that is actually coming to mind. It's really sad, and it's worrisome. It's worrisome that the federal government, NCDC, the presidency could be this careless about what happened yesterday, and nobody is saying anything about it yet. Everybody is quiet and silent about it. Well, let me go back to the next case, which is now the Funke Akindele's case. And we now see so many Nigerians saying, oh, the government needs to apologize to Funke Akindele for what they did to her. Remember, Funke Akindele was sentenced to community service, I think, for 14 days and 100,000 naira fine for organizing a house party which had more than 20 people in attendance. Yes. Funke Akindele is saying that, oh, this more than 20 people you're talking about actually live in my estate. Not like they came for the party, they came from distant places for the party. These people actually stay in my estate. Like, we work together, we still work together and all of that. That was Funke Akindele's plea. But they still sentenced her to community service, and with a fine, she and her husband, with a fine of 100,000 naira each. Now people are saying the federal government needs to apologize to Funke Akindele for they also flaunted their own rules, and sure they flaunted their own rules, the rules that were even set like more than 10 times what Funke Akindele did, because the people that were in that funeral were more than 100. Some are saying they were more than 200 and all of that. And moreover, there was no form of social distancing and all of that. And I'm beginning to question Nigerians. Like, I do not want to say some of us are hypocrites, but it seems so. Because someone commits a bigger crime, does that mean you have to justify the lesser crime? I'm not understanding. What Funke Akindele did is so wrong. Like, she flaunted the rules as well. But does that mean the federal government will have to now apologize to her? I don't think so. Federal government flaunted their own rules, and I don't know who is going to actually punish them for that. I do not know who will punish. I wish there was a bigger body that can actually punish the federal government for such decisions they made. But I don't think apologizing to Funke Akindele is the proper thing. I don't think so. She flaunted the rule, and I think they were just using her as a scapegoat. In as much as I also feel someone is actually trying to get at her. I feel so, but I don't know, it might not be, but I feel someone is actually trying to get at her. At the same time, the federal government needed to use someone as a scapegoat, and Funke Akindele unfortunately was that scapegoat. Then I had a conversation with some of my friends, and they now said, okay, just this little mistake she has done, and now she has been termed an ex-convict. As we all know, being an ex-convict comes with so many things. One, you cannot contest for an election. You cannot be voted for. You cannot vote and you cannot be voted for. You cannot hold public offices. When it comes to visa application, it becomes a problem when the embassy starts doing some background checks on you and all of that. Well, for me, I feel Funke Akindele has the money, and has the money for lawyers as well. In case of any of such, she can actually stand up and get away with it. Like, I don't think she has a problem with being an ex for this particular case, because the case in question is not that weighty, it's not that heavy that she cannot get away with. So I don't think so. If she has the money, not like if she has the money, she can get good lawyers and all of that. Because I know section 137 of the Constitution, I think subsection D and E. I'm going to leave what you read. See, I'm not a lawyer, but I spoke with so many of my lawyer friends, and from that section, I don't think she has any cause for worry. Basically, I don't think so, because even let's even forget the Constitution. We have our so-called politicians. So many of them actually have corruption charges at the moment, and they still go ahead to contest elections. So she doesn't have a problem with that. But the thing is, the only disadvantage there is that anytime she holds a public office, there'll be one person. Nigerians are so many Nigerians are just bad belly people. There'll be one Nigerian that will want to come and stand and like, no, she can't hold a public office because she's an ex-convict and all that. But she has good lawyers. She can actually get away with it, like, very well, because it doesn't count for her. I think the section E says after 10 years and all of that. And well, I'm going to put everything here. If you're a lawyer as well, please, I want to know your take on this ex-convict thing, the impact it has on an individual. That's for Funke. I want to know the impact it has on her and her family and her husband. So please leave it in the comment section if you're a lawyer. I want to really learn about this because lawyers are just like this. Like, if it's not in their favor, they will say this. If it's in their favor, they will say this. Like, so I want to know everything from everybody's perspective on this ex-convict thing. And then when it comes to the issue of the visa thing and all of that, I don't think it's going to be a problem, because as I said, her case is not a weighty case. It's not a case that the embassy will want to really be very strict about, because if you go to places like these civilized countries, as little as driving above your speed limit is a problem. Like, it's already a problem, and if that is a problem, that means like virtually everybody in the civilized world have one charge or the other based on their own rules and regulations, and it's not really a problem for them. So with this Funke's own, I don't think it's a problem for her. Yes, and that is it. Well, my lessons basically from these things: one, I think this is an eye-opener for so many Nigerians out there who think that this virus is not real. I'm happy now that most people are now believing that this is actually true, because chief of staff now have died of it, and so many people have now believed that, oh, this thing is true, this thing is in Nigeria. You know, most Nigerians, I don't understand why we are seeing this believing kind of people. Like, if we don't believe until we see. So now people have believed that, okay, the federal government is not trying to embezzle money by using this virus as a means. The chief of staff have died from this virus, so it is in Nigeria. Then secondly, I think the politicians should now learn from this. Like, politicians should now learn from this, that you need to fix your home. I saw yesterday online that the Nasarawa state government have spent, I think, 600 million naira on cars, and they do not have a single ventilator in Nasarawa state. I don't know how true this is, but I read it. That's to show you that these politicians are not learning lessons. African politicians are a problem. I don't understand who did this to us. Like, I'm so sorry for African leaders. I don't know whether to say it's whether to say I'm sorry for African leaders or I'm sorry for ourselves, because as the day goes by, even the younger leaders, we still see them messing up. So I don't know who did this to Africans, basically. So I was thinking that with the whole of all of this, that the politicians will actually learn from this, but it's obvious Nasarawa state governor is not learning anything from this. Then thirdly, we all know that this virus is real, so let's all stay indoors and be happy. Like, stay indoors, be happy and be healthy. That is the most important thing in life. So the fourth lesson is that you can see this virus, it does not know whether you're poor or rich, like, at all. Abba Kyari had everything at his beck and call. If only money could bring it, money would do that, but we saw what happened. So I think it's better we just stay safe. And then finally, the final point I'll have to say is, let's watch the kind of lifestyle we live. Because when you die, see, it's the type of lifestyle you live while you're alive that will determine how people will mourn you. Yes, you cannot please everybody, fine, but I think you live a good lifestyle, and then majority of those that know you actually celebrate you, will actually celebrate the life you've lived, and not be happy about your death, not be happy over your death. So let's actually be very careful in the kind of lifestyle we live, how we treat people, how we talk to people, and all of that. Thank you once again for watching this video. Please, if you're a lawyer, I'm very, 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 very I really want to know your take on this ex-convict thing. And if you're not a lawyer, you have an idea on all of this, please also leave it in the comment section. And then basically, I want to know your thoughts on this whole Abba Kyari's case, the Funke Akindele's case, and all of that. So leave it in the comment section below. See you in my next video. Have yourself a lovely day. Bye.